cybersecurity is an organizational problem and not just a technical problem. And he's asking, what is your advice to board of directors on this new trend we see on cyber attacks?
Yeah, I think number one thing is now compared to past, like if you look at 10 to like let's say 10 years back, the technology and the capabilities from technical side that we're having today were not there. But now those things are there. I mean, that's why I showed you in my graph also now that website type attacks and some technical level attacks, they were like, there was a reduction. But the problem right now is with insider threats, right? So that is something that a board can look at, like there are insider threats, insider attacks, and to address that, you have to take some like technical controls in. You should have technical controls in place as well, and user awareness, and especially these social engineering related attacks and how the employees get caught to those attacks and things like that. You have to tackle them. So those, I think, will be the key things for board of directors to look at this stage. Yeah.
Good afternoon, and welcome to yet another MBA Diary session. With us, we have an expert in the industry of cybersecurity. And to formally introduce our speaker, I would like to welcome Dr. Rohantha. Doctor, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. So we have with us today a very eminent person, someone who is a lot of respect I have given his kind of achievements that he has had over a time period. He's a cybersecurity professional with over a decade of experience in technology consulting, and mainly in the area of information security, research, networking, programming, application security, system administration, and technical project management in fintech industry and in the higher education sector. He began his career as an engineer at the Millennium IT Software Private Limited, and today works for the London Stock Exchange Group, LSEG PLC. He holds a BSc degree in mathematics, computer science from the University of Colombo, and a master's degree in computer science, specializing in security engineering from the University of Moratuwa. He was a former security researcher and a teaching associate in software security in the Monash University, Australia. He also holds international prestigious certified information system security professional USSP certification, and is an active member of the International Information System Security Certification Consortium. Additionally, he holds a professional certification from the global tech leaders such as Cisco Inc., Red Hat, Oracle, and Axios. He's also a member of the Computer Society of Sri Lanka, a member of the Australian Computer Society, and also a member of the Australian Information Security Association. I have immense pleasure in introducing the Senior Tech Lead, Cybersecurity, London Stock Exchange Group, ladies and gentlemen, Asanga Wanniarachchi.
Thanks, Rohantha. Thanks for the introduction, and thank you, in fact, for giving me this opportunity to address this wonderful gathering. So I think, can I share the screen, Ruth? I think I should be right.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, can you confirm?
We can see. Just put it on presentation mode.
Sure. Okay, right?
All good.
We're going to talk about why companies must be cyber security compliant. And as Dr. Rohant introduced me, I'm Asanga Wanniarachchi. I'm actually a cybersecurity consultant and currently working for the London Stock Exchange Group. This is what we're going to discuss today in general. First of all, just an overview, and then just to provide some insights on what is happening around us, and some security concepts, and understanding the cost of a cyber attack, and some controls, and protecting how to protect your information assets, and finally a Q&A session. So today's world, if you see the technology in business, so actually technology is being used in every business today, as we all know, from so to say from online shopping to mission critical systems, and cyber actually is playing a critical role there in our everyday life. So that essentially have, due to this complex nature of technology and software, delivering software securely has become a challenge today. So if you look at the cyber motives behind, cyber motives have changed over the past. So earlier, the main motive was to challenge others, to show how tech savvy they are, like whoever the person attempting to attack, just to show them their tech savviness. But today it has changed a lot. So today the cyber motives are mainly on cyber espionage side, and also targeting these financial gains, and also to have competitive edge in terms of businesses, like making other businesses systems unavailable and things like that. So I mean, what I want to say is that threat landscape have changed a lot over the past. So yeah, so if you look at this diagram, actually you can see that this is actually cybersecurity in action. If you see, we have owners, and they want to maximize the availability and usefulness, and also they want, and they impose countermeasures. So countermeasures, in a way, they reduce risks, but they may come up with vulnerabilities, and they again requires countermeasures. And on the other hand, we have attackers. They impose threats and risks. There's a relationship between risks, threats, and vulnerabilities. And the attackers want to abuse assets, and it's like a mesh in cyber world. So yes, so if you look at the world we are living today, so these are like different different things happening around the world. So if you see, transportation industry is under attack, and also financial industry is also a targeted one, and healthcare is also under attack, and nuclear sector. These are like very critical sectors that have been targeted by attackers these days. Now, this is the world that we are living in, and also this is about the Bangladesh central bank hack like few years back, actually. This is about it, and the North Korea was suspected to be under this attack, and also there was a famous one, I think a few years back, a commercial bank in Sri Lanka was also hit by a cyber attack. So so if you look at what is happening in Sri Lanka, in the meantime, we know that there was a cyber attack to this one of the media companies in Sri Lanka, Hiru, and also this Sri Lankan embassy at Kuwait, that website getting hacked, that was also there, and also Sri Lanka Army website was hacked a few years back, and Also, our police website got hacked quite recently. It was down for a few hours. And also our major telecom provider, Telecom, got recent attack. And yeah, that's what is happening around us. So almost every sector, every industry is under attack, is actually having threat now. So so if you look at the threat landscape, so it's not just about technology itself. It's also about people and attackers, users, employees, admins, programmers, and these new things like HCI, human computer interaction, and so access control, password, biometrics, crypto. So all these things is actually what we hear. So monitoring, auditing, policy, public relations, all these things come into play when we talk about security in general. So the goals, if you look at the goals of security, is about actually regulating the access to assets. So, but the problem is security is always a secondary concern. The primary concern is always, when it comes to business world, is the focusing on the core business. And the managing the assets, the associated risks, is always comes as a secondary concern, and that's why I said that security is always a secondary concern. So, and the other part is there's a often trade-off between security versus usability and functionality. So the right balance is always required. And there's the key thing to consider when it comes to security is we call CIA triad, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So we have to ensure that these three things are in place and properly balanced to when it comes to providing optimal solutions in terms of security. So so this is about cyber attacks. So understanding the cost of a cyber attack. So based on this, the recently published FBI's Integrated Crime Report 2021 says there's an increase in 64% increase in potential loss from cyber crimes from since 2018, and also phishing has been identified as the key form of attack that is going on these days. And in terms of cost, the average cost of a cyber attacks due to malware is 1.4 billion, and the cost of DDoS attacks, the denial of service attacks, that is to make systems unavailable, that is comes around 1.1 million dollars. And due to malicious insiders. So this actually is often something that most organizations often like neglect. They always believe that they always think about the threats that will come from outside, but there's a threat inside. I mean, posed by the insiders as well. We call it malicious insiders. So that comes around 1.2 million. And also the average web-based one comes around 1.4 million. So these are like a few facts. And also understanding the different sectors like financial services, telco, education, government, healthcare, retail, and high tech. So so it's like what I want to show you is that almost every sector is being targeted by attackers these days. This is just to give an idea on depending on your area of expertise and your industry, you can decide, I mean, where you are falling into at the moment. So the global cost is around 445 billion. This is actually a report I grabbed. So these are like different countries based on the cost and yeah, and the US is being the highest, like $108 billion, and second comes the China is $60 billion, and Germany like the third place into $59 billion in Russia, UK, and all these countries, India even. So it's like every country have a cost associated to cyber, that is due to cyber attacks and not having relevant controls in place in their information assets. So this is another thing to show you, like this is actually interesting, something interesting to note. So if you see in this graph, the malicious insiders, threat of malicious insiders have the threat posed by them have increased over time, right? The denial of service has got slightly reduced. This is the situation, I mean, comparison in 2016 and 2017. The malicious code, phishing, and social engineering and ransom, those are like have increased. And if you see the attack, the threat, actually threat posed by denial of service as well as web-based attacks have reduced to some extent over time, right? Which is good in a way. But that's the that actually is an indication of having proper technology in place. That could be one reason to get those. I mean, why we are see a reduction in those threats. But if you see malicious insiders, has that threat has. In compared to 2016 and 2017, that has increased. And other things like phishing and social engineering, these things have also increased. And when it comes to the type of attacks, malware is the #1 attack, and web-based attacks, denial of service, malicious insiders, they all have different levels. Just to give you sort of a glimpse of what's going in the context of attacks. So if you see new vulnerabilities also from 1988, the first vulnerability we had was the Morris worm. From there to 2020, if you can see this graph clearly, I mean, I think you all can clearly see that it is being like growing exponentially, right? The number of vulnerabilities discovered each year, and we being vulnerable to attacks. That that is the indication of this graph. So apart from that, there's another interesting thing for you to focus on. That is the regulatory needs in cyber. Some jurisdictions, they have legal requirements. When it comes to handling their data, they say that if you are taking care of our data, then you have to be comply with these regulations. So in that case, GDPR is General Data Protection Regulation. This is in EU to protect the PII of EU citizens. So that is there. And PCI DSS, I think most of you, if you are in the payment card industry, you may be familiar with this. And HIPAA, like especially in US, they have this Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act that is to protect patients' data, right? So that goes with medical data. So these things are also comes into play when it comes to this. So just to show you the actually GDPR, if you search it, you can see that it is. I mean, it was challenging. Like a few years back, when the European Union introduced it, there were very hefty fines for violating this regulation. So if you see the highest, compared to the fines, if you look at the fines, GDPR fines, then it goes, the #1 goes to Meta, Facebook, and Amazon, Instagram, WhatsApp. So all these are like big tech companies. They were fined. They were fined because they were not adhering to these guidelines. Penalty for them. Just to show you what is happening in this in data world. And so the problem, so how to protect our assets? Just to show you, I mean, this is not a comprehensive list, but a few key things that you can impose in your data asset. Number one is awareness. So making your employees, so whoever the people using who have access to data, making them aware about what is going on around the world and the type of the attack, the severity of attacks, and what it can do to your data. The awareness is number one, and also having proper cyber policies and procedures in place, and conducting audits. That is also important, because you have to check whether whether the correct policies and procedures are in place to protect your data assets, and adhering to the security principles. That is also very important, and adhering to need to know and least privilege principles. So these are very important things to keep in mind. So you should grant permission to data assets and also data subjects only to the need to know basis, and also you have to adhere to the least privilege principle. That means you have to provide privileges to the extent that it requires, nothing more than that. So that's very important. And having 4I checks in place for critical activities. So different people and different entities must have been they must get together when it comes to evaluating certain things. So that is also important. And adhering to industry standards, security standards, that is also important, and something that organizations can do. That is to evaluate their existing products in line with security standards, so that they can identify the gap, right? What is missing in their products, and where to go in that context. So that is also important. That is something that you can do. And the analysis of existing gaps and the going search of proper implementation of required controls. And when it comes to, I mean, how to if you look at how to implement these things, there are certain things that you have to take into account, like in terms of network. You have to have proper encryption methods in place, and also proper use of firewalls, load balancers. These are like technical terms, but I think those are all important, because that is how a solid cyber solution will come into place. So all these things are important. I will discuss it in my next slide also. And from operating system side, database, all these things should be protected. Like you have to have proper access control mechanisms in place, and to have proper data at rest protection methods. That is, when you are storing your data, you have to have a proper we have to properly store them in a way that it cannot be tampered. And hardening, proper hardening of infrastructure, and using industry standards and guidelines when it comes to hardening your information assets. So actually in security, we actually use a multi-layered approach, and when actually securing our systems. That is, we have policies and procedures at a very broader level, and also we have physical protection methods, physical mechanisms, and perimeter level security will also be there, and network, host, application, and finally data, right? So this we call the defense in depth approach in security. So this is how we essentially provide. So we have to have all these pillars in place, all these mechanisms in place to have a proper cyber program. So before concluding, so just look. I think we all love Netflix, right? We all love Netflix, and what if we receive a message like this. So let's say this is actually something actually happened in the past. So people got this message, exact message, saying that looks like they're getting it from Netflix, and it says due to the pandemic situation, they're going to give some free passes, thinking about the people who are, locked down in their homes and, having mentally depressed and stuff like that, to ease that, to help. With technology, they were like Netflix came up with this saying that they sometimes they got this message saying that we are going to give you some free passes, and then just click this and then provide some information and something like that. So actually, what went wrong? Wow, what the situation here was? This was a scam. So this by clicking this link, they ask you to. And also they requested to send this to some other people as well. So this is like infected. I mean, this attack propagates to other machines as well. So the important part is that up to this point, I was talking about the technical and other controls that should be in place, but now the attackers are much smarter than that. They actually take the social situation also into account, which actually is another dimension, which was not there previously, but now they are taking those things as well. They take those aspects into account as well when planting attacks, which is very dangerous, right? So I have to be aware of those things as well. So that is about it. Actually, I'm happy to take questions if you have any.
Thank you very much, Asanga. Fantastic presentation and amazing insights that you shared about the industry which has never seen a recession. They say that every other industry has seen a recession globally, but the cybersecurity, this industry, the demand is more than supply. So there's many questions coming in. I'll just pick up the first one. It says, how will artificial general intelligence, AGI, impact cybersecurity? What are the potential positives and negatives implications of AGI systems becomes more autonomous in detecting and responding to cybersecurity threats? How will this impact the cybersecurity industry, particularly for individuals pursuing a career in cybersecurity?
So I think the question is mainly about the impact of AI to security, right? So I think actually this is a hot topic right now. But the thing is, I personally think that although it can perform so many things, when it comes to attacks, I think it is still at a very not a very primitive, I must say, but like not to the level that we expect. I mean, like we want it to be. It's still evolving. So what's the other question, Rohan? Like, and the other, I think few parts of that question, right?
How will AGI impact cybersecurity, and what are the potential positives and negatives?
Yes.
Of AGI?
Yeah, the positive, when it talks about the positives, actually depends on the way that we take it, right? For example, if we can use it to understand attack patterns, and if we can automate or we can find solutions to introduce mechanisms to like how should I say it, like if we can develop a system that can identify software cyber attacks with this technology, that will be useful. That will definitely help in terms of identify vulnerability detection side, there will be a lot of positives. The negatives, I don't think, since it's a new technology, I don't think that I know that in industry now there's a some, especially the newcomers, they have this like fear in saying that, I mean, all these AI technology related technologies will take off most of the existing jobs. So that is that I think is the major fear that most of them are having. But I think to that I don't think that it will go. It will occupy all these jobs quite soon. But that, and also more research is required when it comes to properly taking it into our existing systems, and how we can integrate it into our lives. So that actually needs some more research. I think it's still at a very early stage in that context. Yeah.
There's a very interesting question coming up. He says that cybersecurity is an organizational problem and not just a technical problem. And he's asking, what is your advice to board of directors on this new trend we see on cyber attacks?
Yeah, I think number one thing is now compared to past, like if you look at 10 to like let's say 10 years back, the technology and the capabilities from technical side that we're having today were not there. But now those things are there. I mean, that's why I showed you in my graph also now that website type attacks and some technical level attacks, they were like, there was a reduction. But the problem right now is with insider threats, right? So that is something that a board can look at. Like there are insider threats, insider attacks, and to address that, you have to take some like technical controls in. You should have technical controls in place as well, and user awareness, and especially these social engineering related attacks, and how the employees get caught to those attacks and things like that. You have to tackle them. So those, I think, will be the key things for board of directors to look at this stage. Yeah.
Coming up, it says that how do we know we have been breached, and how do we detect a breach?
But yeah, I think if you are really, like, let's say not a tech savvy user at all, then let's say you wake up in the morning and you realize that your account balance is zero, something like that. And I think that, I guess, that's that one way of, I mean, one indication. So you like it's I think you have to I mean, for you to realize that you've been hacked or attacked. That actually depends on the situation. Like sometimes you will get emails saying, okay, you've been hacked, or things like that. In other situations, you will see some your access being blocked, right? Sometimes you won't be able to access your systems, your bank accounts, and things like that. So that actually is an indication of you are being hacked or you're being attacked. So apart from that, so that actually, that is context dependent, Rohant, I must say. So that depending on the situation, sometimes I think these days, I think all of us are getting emails and WhatsApp messages and things like that from different people saying that, okay, I'm a manager from this organization. You have been selected to do this particular job. We are going to offer you this much and things like that. So please click this link. So those kind of things are, I think, those are like the obvious risky attacks that we are getting. So we have to be aware of the types of requests and attacks that we are getting in that context. So that is also, yeah. So in general, in a nutshell, it's about user education and you being aware of technology in general and these attack patterns.
I love this question. It says, describe a situation in which you have discovered a vulnerability in a company server, and what steps did you take to remedy this issue?
Yeah. So identifying vulnerabilities and fighting with them has become a part of my job. I can't like tell the project names and things like that. But a situation is like I would put it this way: a very a sick. I can't tell the name of the. I mean, this is a very famous place, not in Sri Lanka. This particular system is in production as well. So there was a particular problem with respect to their user inputs, and we suspected that due to the I mean, depending on their feeds, we realized that users are being like they were able to put some malicious scripts, load some malicious scripts into the input fields. So they were able to execute some malicious scripts in their in our system. So we actually we also triggered this by executing by injecting some JavaScripts to our same system. Then we realized that the same vulnerability exists in our system. And the actions took in this case, number one thing is to inform the client about the attack and the possibility of attack, so that until we deliver the solution to them, they also, I mean, they should also take relevant action in terms of that. So this particular attack is a cross-site scripting related attack. We realized we actually identified quite recently. So yes, and first thing is based on the data and the attack patterns, we based on our experience, we realized that this is of this particular nature, and then we penetrated the system and we realized that we confirmed based on the behavior that this is of this nature, and then we informed it to the client as well, and they accepted the attack as well. So yeah, did I answer the question, Rohan?
Yep. Very interesting. Tell me about the last time you identified an incoming cyber attack. What was the outcome? So they want to go really to the war. They are asking about war.
Yeah. Incoming attack, right? Interesting. So this is actually something that I think every company is being like facing these days. Like if you have the proper monitoring methods in place, then you'd be able to identify these things. For example, so especially if you look at your web hosted applications, they are facing to the internet directly. Then if you can see the attacks, I mean the request coming, if you can see the anomalies, then that means something is going on, right? So what we usually have in place is that we know, I think you all know something called the firewalls, and also apart from that we have what you call load balancers. So this firewall and load balance business that goes with we work with some cloud providers as well. So when we so we have a throttling limit to accept traffic from outside, and the rest we will direct to the cloud appliances, and then So if those appliances in the cloud get hits, so many hits with respect to our application, then we know that we are being attacked in terms of DOS, like denial of service attacks. DDoS prevention mechanisms should be in place in that situation. So yes, that is actually DOS attacks is something that we are being facing in like quite like it's a everyday thing, I guess, nowadays.
It's nice to meet you and see a professional in cybersecurity. Could you give us an example of the time you used teamwork to accomplish a task?
So yes, me being a professional doesn't mean that I'm not like working in isolation, right? I'm always working with the team, and this is a team that I have few direct reports under me, and also I'm working with some other teams as well. So usually in our situation, when we always have to work together when dealing with cyber attacks and identifying vulnerabilities and things like that. So so yeah, what was the question in that case,
give an example of the time you used a teamwork to accomplish a task.
Yeah, teamwork is like yeah, depending on the skills of the people, we identified this person is capable of working with network related stuff. Then the other one is good at OS and operating system, database, and those areas. Then we actually we take the big picture, and then we'll identify the different areas that everyone can contribute depending on their skill level. So yeah, that's something that we do always. So yeah, that I guess is teamwork, and that makes that ultimately provides us a very good outcome.
This coming from a student from the MSc in cybersecurity run by Staffordshire University. And the student is saying, imagine you discovered a major noteworthy security breach. How would you communicate that information to leadership?
Yeah, I think how to communicate is that number one thing is, when it comes to leadership, they don't. I mean, when I'm presenting something to the leadership, I need to. I mean, the number one thing is I have to take out all this technical jargon out of it and have to make it sensible for the management community, right? So in that case, I need to first go through the details of this attack vector, the attack, and also have to identify like the severity of the attack and how severe the attack is to this particular environment, right? So that is what I have to communicate to the management and to the executives in that case, because the decision making is based on that always. So so I should go into the details of the attack, and I have to relate it to the situation that that your application is running. So you have to take all this into account, and then you have to have an answer that I mean, taking out all this technical jargon, and we have to have a proper answer in terms of risk, so that that makes their decision quite easy. So that's the most important thing as a cybersecurity professional when you are working with the management and the the top management of an organization. Yeah.
Asanga, thank you so much. It's such a brilliant 45 minutes that we spent with you. Just one final question to you. What is your advice to a youngster doing cybersecurity? As we know, Staffordshire University offers cybersecurity as a for MSc and as well as for undergrad. So what is your advice to a youngster? Because we know that 40% of talent has been lost by the IT industry because they're going abroad. What is your advice to a youngster?
Yeah, my advice is actually to dive deep. If I tell in 2 words, that is to dive deep into whatever the thing that you do, right? Whatever the like area that you are working on, like be it software, like a cybersecurity professional or a QA person, engineering, or whoever. We have to dive deep, and we have to live with it, right? And you have to love the work you do. And I think one thing that I'm seeing, the fresh graduates coming out of the universities like yours these days, is that they are not like they are not like they're not thinking very deep, right? But that thinking and relating it to the technical context, and going deep and trying to understand the exact details of it. And that part is missing actually, is in most of the graduates who are coming from universities in general, I must say. So my advice is to try to go dive deep and try to solve problems, and to come up with your own solutions, and uh, to be a good professional. Yeah, that's the advice I think you can give to Ante. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Asanga. Appreciate sincerely for taking your time off your very busy schedule. I know that cybersecurity experts are tough to find and tough to get time, and you spent 45 minutes. I really appreciate. As you know, we are venturing out into cybersecurity as a specialization, and I think it's great. If we would love to have you also on the panel, and how you can support youngsters. Ruth, over to you.
Thank you, Doctor. Asanga, thank you so much for taking the time. We've taken a few extra minutes of your time, but you have shared your knowledge, and I'm 100% sure that it is invaluable knowledge for our students. And you have answered a flood of questions. I'm sure there's more, but due to the time constraint that we have, we must draw this session to a close. So thank you for being with us here and sharing your knowledge. As we draw to a close, I'd like to thank our IT team for the technical support extended during this session. I'd also like to thank all our students, our industry partners, alumni who have joined in to this session today. And before we wrap up, I'd like to remind our partners that APIT has the internship program. If you do have any openings in your company, please do share it across with us. And on another note, since we are talking about cybersecurity today, we are offering a new MSc in cybersecurity from Staffordshire University. So if you are interested in upskilling, do send in your details. So with this, thank you everyone for joining in. Have a good day, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you're joining us. Till next time, take care.